All right, guys, we have a treat. CT Sounds Thermo Subwoofer. This guy is about 50 pounds for one subwoofer. It is no joke. This guy's a monster. Let's check it out. Inside, right off the bat, we got some decals, 2 different kinds. Super cool. Link to their Facebook page. Pretty good stuff here. Here's some basic specifications about the woofer, including the mounting depth, which is 8 1/4 inches deep. That's pretty good. This big ring comes off to protect it, and you know they got that good foam. They got that good foam that perfectly matches the woofer so it doesn't get damaged in shipping, and it's even padded on the bottom. So here's the actual woofer itself, and see what it's all about. Awesome. This woofer is very nice. It's the newest product they make called the Thermo series, and this guy is actually not a replacement or an upgrade from the meso subwoofer. It's just different, and let me show you why. These woofers were designed for SPL applications where you just want to get loud. These guys right here have really big push terminals compared to the meso, just has normal size push terminals for about 1500 watts. These guys are rated at 1500 watts, but they can hold more. This motor structure is much bigger than the meso. This basket is nice and thick, but really, this is all the hard stuff. What really makes this woofer different than the meso is the soft parts. It's the big coil inside, it's the spider, it's the cone. This guy has a massive 10-inch spider. And the reason why you want a big spider like this on a 12-inch subwoofer for SPL is so you can be very stiff to combat that extra motor force while still being compliant enough to hit those SPL numbers. That's what you want. Big stiff spider, big strong motor, nice high temp coil inside of there. That's what's going to make this guy perform. It's going to make some pretty decent numbers. Not to say this woofer doesn't sound good, but compared to a meso, which is more for an SPL SQ application, sort of a balance of both, this guy right here was made to get loud. That doesn't mean it's not going to sound good. It still sounds amazing. The box requirements and specifications are going to be a little bit different because it needs to hit those SPL numbers. It needs to be set for what it's designed for, and that is to get loud. Just check out how big this motor is. It's quite large. So we can see that this woofer is pretty amazing, but what's the actual difference between this woofer and a meso series? Well, here's a meso series woofer that I've had for a couple years now. This thing plays amazing. I pulled it out of the box so I can show the differences between that woofer and this woofer. The first thing you notice here is they're actually not a whole lot different in the height, maybe about 1/2 inch. They're pretty well the same physical depth. The Thermo is a little bit bigger. You can see here the push terminals on the Thermo are much larger than the push terminals on the meso. You can also tell right away how much larger the spider is compared to the one on the meso. This larger spider is and again with this large 10-inch spider that's stiff but also compliant, allows this woofer to handle a much higher box volume, allowing this to produce that extra SPL. You can see the physical motor size difference is much larger on the Thermo as well. The meso is a pretty big woofer. The Thermo is that much bigger. I don't know if I have a way to show that. Maybe like this. Ooh. Here's a pretty good comparison between the side. Here's a pretty good comparison of the size difference between the Thermo series and the meso series woofer. This magnet is much larger, a couple inches bigger on the diameter, but it's about the same throw. Let's fix that. So both of these woofers are amazing in their own way. This is more SQL, this is more SPL. There's a couple things you have to do to get that extra SPL, but it doesn't make this woofer it doesn't make this woofer a replacement for this woofer. It's just a different kind of woofer. It's also not even technically an upgrade unless you just want that extra SPL. So if you have a meso woofer and you think you want to buy one of these, make sure the box requirements that you have will work for these. If they will, try them out. If not, then you might as well. If not, then I assure you you'll still be fine with your meso woofer. I assure you that you'll be fine with your meso woofer. It is a pretty good woofer. There's some of the trade-offs between upgrading from the some of the trade-offs between upgrading this woofer to this woofer is obviously that this woofer is quite a bit heavier. The box space requirements are going to be a little bit bigger, and obviously they're going to cost a little bit more. So going from a meso to this here may not be what you want to do in every scenario. The biggest difference between upgrading from this woofer to this woofer is you're going to get a little bit. The biggest difference between upgrading from the meso woofer to the thermal woofer is you're going to get more SPL, but you're going to need a little bit more box volume. If you have the box volume to handle it, and you do the math on it, this woofer can actually be a little bit louder than this one. So check it out. So let's go ahead and install this massive CT Sounds Thermo Series subwoofer in this enclosure. The blue wire is the positive, the white wire is the negative. We have these jumped on both sides. It's a dual 2 ohm coil, so we're wiring down to 1 ohm. Let's go ahead and set this inside the box. As you can see, it fits perfectly in the box. We're gonna get this centered up. We're gonna throw some screws in it. We're gonna get it in the car, hook it up, and see how it pounds. So I have this big CT Sounds Thermo 12-inch subwoofer and the CT 1X12 box. We're gonna throw it in the car. We're gonna see what it sounds like. You can stay tuned for that. But she is a beauty. Nice, big, heavy foam surround. It's not too flat. Very nice.